got this here working, but we ran into a problem quick right off the bat. The cylinder doesn't seem to be able to retract enough to lower the blade to cut right through the log, and it doesn't set off the plunger. That's what pushes the wood down through the splitter. So we're going to have to make some more adjustments on this, and we'll get back to you when we figure what we're going to do with it.
The saw blade has to go down another inch, I'd say.
Yeah, another good inch. It's not cutting right through the logs, and it doesn't set the plunger off. So we found another little problem when we were looking at this. This piece here appears to be too long. I don't know if you can see that. It's been hitting on this here particular piece of metal here, which is part of the range road, and this is the saw. So I think that this piece here is going to have to be cut off to allow it to flex properly. Because right now what happens is when you force it by hand, which I'll show you in a minute. I'll take off this. So this is how it's originally right now, but when you're working the machine, whether it be by hand or trying to figure this out, you can see the machine, it actually does a lift. Audrey comes down here, she'll see better on this angle. This whole apparatus is lifting. It's rubbing up against there. So that tells me that there's something wrong here. You can see here, there, it's twisting and it's forcing against itself. To go down to the lower position where it will set off the plunger and actually cut right through the log, it's you can see it's sticking on itself. So I think that we're going to have to remove this piece.
You can see the wear on that piece from even the manual pulling on it.
So we cut that off.
Now it goes further.
Now you can see it freely rotates.
Just see the saw there? There's no jumping. That's better.
So you can see there's where it was rubbing, and it was making it difficult to lower the blade.
Getting ready to weld. So we started our processor and we got the hydraulics all figured out, and it's working now. We just cut a little bit of wood, and now we have this beautiful sunset.
Well, hi guys, we finally got this thing together and we got it working now. As you can see, we saw about a cord and a quarter of wood, and we're trying it ourselves. It seems to be working now. We had a good bit of work to do afterwards. We had to, if Otter can come in closer, we had to move the position of the ears. It wouldn't do its full travel, so we had to reposition these ears. We put an extra plate in the back here. We put that extra plate here in and then re-welded it. And we put some reinforcement bars down below so it wouldn't twist. And we also had to pierce a hole here and put it in because the cylinder is a lot stronger than we are, and it was flexing this piece of metal, or I should say aluminum. So we put an extra bolt in it to solidify it. Now we had to cut off this piece here because we couldn't make it do a full rotation to allow it to engage the plunger. The plunger is what pushes the wood through into the splitter. So we had to cut that off. Now it was able to roll freely back and forth without getting jammed up on this piece right here, which is the stop. So we put this bolt in as well, and as I think I said, and that helped reinforce the whole bracket as one unit again. So we got that pretty well figured out. And if we go over to the valve side, so we got the valves working pretty good. This works very well for bringing the carpet in and returning the carpet. And I've set this here valve up so that we only use it basically to lower the blade. And what you have to do is be very careful with the speed that you bring it down, because it'll jam the saw and stall the motor
if you go too fast.
if you go too fast. So you have to be very precise with how much pressure you put on the valve. Because what I wanted was the valve to, instead of having to always lift the valve back up itself, I put the return flow control on the return side of the valve. So it automatically returns. I'll start it up and I'll show you what I did. This here valve controls actually the return. It doesn't have nothing to do with the downward flow. I control the downward flow myself. Because sometimes you have a big log and sometimes you have a small log. And you'd be constantly playing with this thing here, turning up the flow and lowering the flow. So I figured the smartest thing to do would be learn how to use the valve myself and let this return the blade itself. So we'll start it up and we'll give you a show what it does. So we're able to get it going and I'll show you how these valves work. I hope you can hear me. So we set this first valve up to run the carpet. So when I push down on the carpet,
Down on the valve.
down on the valve, it advances the carpet. And when I push up on the valve, the carpet reverses. So that's working good. Now what we did is we put the chain bar on the first valve, which is this one. And now so you see it come down. I have it set up that it goes back up automatically. So this is the return line. In other words, this position is on this side here with my valve. So what I did was I flowed up in the middle, and when I bring down my valve, it will cut, and it returns on its own. So I don't have to bother with that operation. I can actually go right away to bringing up my next piece of wood and locking it into place and making sure that it's going through the plunger and out the splitter and onto the carpet properly to load into the loader bucket. And by standing here, I'm able to operate everything. I have the lock, the carpet, the chain bar, and as well operate the plunger. Just remember, you have a plunger valve here. Push that, and it runs the plunger. So by standing here, I can operate the whole machine. So the idea of having the valve back over here, being bent over like this, operating the machine, the quadri backs up, should give you an idea what I was doing. I'd have to be operating the machine like this. And then whenever I had a problem, I'd have to run over here, open this up, play around with whatever had to be done, and then re-operate it here. And once that's done, go back over there and start over. So I thought that was senseless, and that's why we put the valves up here. And hopefully the company takes our advice there and put your valves up here.
So thanks for watching. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.